So this is pretty much the only mini NAS that I could find that fit all of my quite specific requirements. Those requirements being, it had to be fully NVMe, not just because of the speed, of course the speed is what I want, but I also wanted it to be very quiet because it's going to be sitting on my desk. It had to have 10 gigabit Ethernet because I have 10 gigabit Ethernet wired up through my house, so it just made a lot of sense. Had to have Thunderbolt so that I could connect it directly to my Mac. It needed to be small because I didn't want something quite big just sitting on my desk. And it had to be easy to set up. So this is a crucial one for me personally. I wanted something that just works out of the box, has the OS that works, everything that works in it. I don't really want to be messing around with any settings or anything, don't want to be tinkering with things. I just want it to work because time saved for me is just as important. Surprisingly, there are very few options out there, and this one from Ugreen, the DXP480T Plus, I think it's called, is the best I could find. I also want to make it clear, this is not a sponsored video. I bought this with my own money. I think this whole setup cost me around $2,000. However, I'll leave a link to an affiliate link in the description so that I can make my money back. So when it comes to the specs of this thing, it has an Intel Core i5 10-core CPU, 8 gigabytes of included RAM, which is also upgradable, Wi-Fi 6, and of course 4 NVMe slots. On the back there are 2 Thunderbolt ports, 1 USB 3.2 port, a HDMI port that can do up to 8K at 60 Hz, a 10 gigabit Ethernet port, and a barrel jack for power. But I do sort of wish that it had USB-C. I don't know, maybe it's just me, I'm getting used to having everything USB-C. It is what it is. This definitely isn't the smallest mini NAS that you can get. There are some smaller ones out there. But when it comes to the amount of features and functionality this has, yeah, I haven't found anything else that's this small. Here it is alongside a Mac Mini for comparison, so it is a bit bigger than a Mac Mini, but I still would say it's small. The bottom comes off, which also houses the 2 fans that cool the NVMe drives. I've put 4 4TB SSDs in here, which thankfully I bought before the prices just went crazy. I've also put cooling pads on them, which helps with the temps. Thankfully, they run pretty good, around 50 degrees. I've set it up in a RAID 5 setup, so one drive can fail and I can still have all of my data. Currently, I have around 10.8 terabytes of usable storage, but I've already used up 9.1 terabytes, so I'm probably going to need to upgrade again soon. When it comes to noise, this thing is definitely not silent. However, it's not as loud as a traditional hard drive spinning disk setup. It's definitely a lot quieter than that. It just has an audible fan noise, but I live in Dubai, so I have my AC running pretty much all the time. I have my setup going with music, TV show, movie, whatever. And when I have all that sort of going, I just can't hear it. Right now, I actually have my AC running and you probably can't hear it. It's just a sort of very low humming sound. This has a more of a sort of, I don't want to say high pitched, but it's not low pitched either, sort of in the middle, I guess. But when I have everything running and I'm sort of working away, I forget that it's there. I forget that it even makes a noise unless the room is absolutely silent. Only then can I hear it. Only then can I hear some fans going. So yeah, I just want to make that clear. Not silent, but it isn't as loud as a traditional NAS setup. It comes with Ugreen's own OS, and you can install your own OS if you like. You can flash it, install your own thing. However, I've stuck with the Ugreen OS mainly because it actually works. It works surprisingly well. It does everything that I need it to do. It worked out of the box. It updates very easily, and they also have a Mac app and an iPhone app. And the OS itself sort of looks like Mac OS in some ways. I feel like they've tried to copy some elements of Mac OS. I think it works. It's good, works for me. I don't really have any issues with it. And you can also have other applications on it that have their own app store where you can download applications and install applications. You can even install things like OpenClaw, but you can also have a Docker setup, install Docker applications and stuff. So there's a lot of flexibility with Ugreen OS, thankfully. I think the other great thing about Ugreen OS is that you can technically use this as your own sort of cloud, right? You can install Plex, you can have your movies, your music, pictures and everything, back up your phone, back up whatever you want onto this thing. So it can be your own sort of personal cloud. You don't need to mess around with any crazy software or anything like that, which is nice to see. My main use case for this is to have one place where I can have all of my recent video projects. I can access them quickly and also share them with my team across the world. The reason I wanted the Thunderbolt ports was so that I could connect external drives, external Thunderbolt drives, and quickly offload footage. But I can also connect it directly to my Mac without having to use a Thunderbolt to Ethernet adapter, which can go for over $100, $200 alone. So I think that actually saves me quite a bit of money going for something like this where it already has it built in. However, there is one limitation when connecting this via Thunderbolt to a Mac, and that's that you're not going to get the full Thunderbolt speeds. 40 gigabits per second. It's actually IP over Thunderbolt. So technically it's Thunderbolt sort of Ethernet setup. I don't know the actual technicalities of it, to be honest with you, but basically you're limited to 10 gigabit Ethernet speeds rather than the full 40 gigabits, which is a shame. I would have liked the full 40 gigabits per second. However, even with the 10 gigabit speed, I've not had any issues. It's been fast enough. I can edit directly off of this. I can quickly take footage on and off. For me, it's worked fine. It would just be nice to have that full 40 gigabits. For me, using this setup, editing videos off of it, having videos on it, taking them on and off, just any sort of scenario that I've been able to come across, it's been fantastic. And of course, I can share it with my team all over the world. I can give them different sets of permissions based on which folder, which is also nice to have, because then I can make sure that, you know, some of my team don't accidentally delete anything or don't change files that I don't want them to. So yeah, it's nice to be able to have everything all in one place that I can share with everyone. I've actually been using this setup for over a year now, and I have not had a single issue. I've not had any sort of random shutdown, any sort of software issues, nothing like that. Which, to be honest, is actually very, very impressive, because usually stuff like this, there's always something that goes wrong. Maybe it needs a software update, maybe something just needs like turning on and off or whatever. This has been absolutely rock solid. For me, that's very important. Time for me is very valuable. I don't want to be messing around with all sorts of settings and software updates and stuff like that. I just want it to work all the time. And knowing that I can connect my Mac to it, have access to all of my video files very, very quickly and start editing, especially when it comes to branded stuff, sponsor stuff, client work, whatever it might be, just having quick access to everything is so important to me. I also have this thing fully backed up to the cloud every night. It backs up any new files. And that's not cheap to do, but I think to myself, for peace of mind, I like having a cloud backup of everything as well. I think my next step will be setting up a traditional NAS setup and putting it somewhere else in my house, not in my actual studio desk setup, putting it somewhere else where doesn't really matter when it comes to the noise, so that I can have another local copy of my data as well. Like I said, this whole setup cost me around $2,000. I think it was actually like $1,800 when I got the discount on this, because I think it currently goes for $800. And then I spent around $250 per SSD that I have in here. So 4 terabyte SSDs. I've looked actually, if you were to go for the same setup, each of the drives now are going for around $450 to $500, which is just outrageous. Like, they've just doubled in price. The NAS itself has actually stayed the same price. You might even be able to get it cheaper in some places. You might be able to get it for around $700 or $800. Yeah, I think what I paid for it at the time, it was well worth it. Right now, for the unit itself, I think it's a good price, but it's the drives that are expensive. But I think to myself, you know, depending on what you're doing, if you need quick backup to stuff, you do a lot of client work, a lot of project work, branded work, whatever it might be, I think it's worth it. I think it's actually well worth it, because the convenience of having something like this, I think it's just worth it for the time that you save. Check out this other video I did on building a sort of home cloud setup in under an hour. That video's got over 500,000 views, so clearly you guys liked it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.